guys, I wanted to do a quick recap for you from hoop class Thursday, February 2nd. This week in hoop class, we started with the hoop out on our side of our body over here with just one leg in, and we worked on the continuous step through. So what we did is we started by lifting this knee up and grabbing the hoop with our thumb towards us behind the knee, stepping through, and you continue to grab it with the front hand right behind the knee there with the thumb facing you. We did a bunch of these. From there, we also talked about the regular forward step through. So like if you were leg hooping or whatever and it's going around, we talked about these. We also talked about how when you step through, if you pinch it properly, you can go right into a wedgie, which led us into our wedgie discussion. We also talked about, with the wedgies, first we broke down actually doing the wedgie. We talked about how the easiest way to get into it. So if I have the hoop in my left arm and it's spinning on my left hand, I have it going away from me towards the outside, and I'm going to pass it under the left leg here. And I'm going to step it over the hoop and in on the other side. I don't know if you guys can see too well. So my leg's through the hoop. And when I step down, I leave that heel popped up because that gives me some extra tension here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to step down with this leg, and when I step down, my other knee is going to dart, the right knee is going to dart all the way out to the side, and I'm going to twist really hard. So I'm going to step and push. When you do that, if you want to keep it going, you're then going to need to step and push with the other side. So what's going to happen is it'll look like this. So we talked about actually doing the wedgie. Then we discussed different ways to get into it. So we talked about how, you can do it either left hand going out, under the knee. That's if you want to do it on the left side. If you want to do it on the right side, you can have it going in the right hand, again, away from you. Pass it under the knee, step right in. It all depends on what side you want to do. We also talked about doing walk the dog into it. So if we take the hoop, we do walk the dog, you can step through the middle here and go right into it. Or if you want a more tricky advanced version, when you do walk the dog, if you want to do it on the left, you let the hoop roll all the way back past your body, and as it's about, I'd say this far past you, you're going to wrap around to the front here and step in. This will give you a really good wind up for that move. So I'm going to show you that one right here. So if it's on the side, it's coming back. Oh, sorry, that was a bad one. Actually, I'm going to do it to the side so you can see it. So ready? And you want to get in that gap right there. We also talked about what I just did, which is taking the wedgie off body. So let's say you're doing a wedgie and you want to flip the hoop up off body. What's happening with that move is you're doing your wedgie, and one of the times when you would normally step and duck to let it go to the other side, which is another thing we discussed, is switching between sides, which basically when you step down, you want to step and duck at the same time so it can go over your head to the other side of the body. This is also true when you want to lift it off body. So what's going to happen is you're going to step in here, and as you step down, you're going to duck, and you're also going to pull this right knee all the way to your chest. So I'm doing the wedgie on my left side. To get it off body, I'm going to move the right knee out of the way as far as I can. So I'm going to duck and bring that knee up and out of my way. As you can see, if you don't do it fast enough or smooth enough or tuck enough, your foot could get hung up on it. Some people do it with the leg tucked back behind here. I always got caught on my ankle, so it's up to you wherever you can kind of snake your body down into to get the hoop clearance. From there, we also talked about, sorry, I got my list here today, escalators. So we talked about cool different ways to get into escalators. So first we talked about doing the extra loop at the top of the escalator. So a normal escalator going down, loops behind and comes around. If you want to do this extra loop at the top, what happens is you're holding the hoop now at the bottom, you're going to swing it around, but instead of letting it hit right here, or letting it fall down the body, you're going to give it clearance and let it clear your head and get onto the arm here, and then it's going to fall from there. In doing so, you get a nice pretty extra loop at the top, so it'll look like this. Ta-da! We also talked about doing the hand spin into it. So we started with the hoop out in front of us, we let it spin from pinky to thumb, and we got real comfortable with this here. Then we tried doing a couple of these. We think about 10 and 2 is where we want to do it. So we're going to loop up, hand spin, bring it down. handspin, bring it down. When we got really comfortable with these, then you can try, instead of grabbing it at the end, just pushing the fingers up and into the hoop, so that way you can let it continue down into an escalator. So that looks like this. Besides that, we also talked about folding combo. So we did this one here. We have the hoop out on our side. If the hoop's on the same side of your body as the arm that's holding it, you want your palm up. So it's going to go palm up. We're going to pull it on our body. The arm's crossing in front of you, over your body, and then you're flipping the hoop off. You're pulling it back on the body, flipping it off. The reason I said if it's on the same side as the arm that's holding it, like this time now, it's on the opposite side of the body that's holding it. So my right arm's holding it, but I'm holding it to the left side of my body. You're gonna have your palm down at this point. So it's palm down on this side, palm up on the same side. So you can do that in either hand. We also talked about throwing in really fun arm work with this, because just simply throwing an arm in there makes this look like such a fancy move. So if I'm going to drag it over, flip it off, now as I'm pulling it back, I'm going to put my arm through and then reach. Through and reach. And it gives it such a cool look. I'll do it facing you guys so you can see a little bit more what it actually looks like. And it just, you know, it makes it look magical. So we also talked about breaks, and we did a lot on breaks. We talked about starting with holding it on the inside here and trying just to kind of throw and turn for people just starting. We talked about, if you were comfortable with breaks a little bit already, doing them out here. We talked about how you can throw the other arm in the gap here to do these fun breaks. We talked about elbow breaks. We talked about doing the punches with the elbow breaks. Sorry, it's really cold out. My hands are starting to go numb. We also talked about, what other breaks did we do? These out here, the inside breaks. We talked about actually, once you get comfortable with these inside breaks here, trying to throw in an extra loop between each one. And we talked about how this will help you with your shoulder hooping later on. It'll help you learn to push the hoops around and to, you know, have that timing and to find that space to do your breaks and your paddles. Then we talked about paddles. We talked about starting inside the hoop and turning with it and trying to just push it away from us ever so slightly. We talked about how you can do palm out paddles, or you can do back of the hand paddles. Sometimes they wind up just being on the back of my wrist. My hand doesn't even get in there. It's really all preference, so whichever one you're comfortable with. But we talked about after you get really comfortable with the breaks, try just turning and try pushing the hoop, whether it's forward or backwards, to feel that paddle motion before you just try and go, you know, balls to the wall and throw a paddle into your breaks, which eventually is what you're working up towards. And then finally, we worked on the inside out whip right towards the end there. So we had the hoop over our shoulder like you would for a forward weave. This is your regular forward weave motion. We did this. This is the inside out whip. So this is taking the hoop over your shoulder here, and we pushed it all the way out like a cat's eye. Then we let our hands roll over the top of the hoop to the outside. We isolate down and around, we push it back out to this really weird, uncomfortable spot. And then we bring it back in and isolate to the inside here. Push it back out, over and outside the hoop, back inside the hoop. This is the inside out whip. Here we also talked about a little bit just the cat's eye isolation. And I think that was it. Hope you guys had fun in hoop class. Oh, and the little routine we put together at the end just for a minute. We started with that continuous step through. We did 1, 2, 3, 4. We brought it up and out. We went 1, 2, 3, 4. From here we took the hoop and we dragged it back on and we put it on a waist. And then we just went into breaks. So, hope you guys had fun in hoop class today, and I hope you enjoyed this recap. If you have any questions or you want any of these moves broken down further, just comment below, and I will gladly make you another video. Have a great night, and also remember, you can subscribe right down here.